This video will demonstrate how to link Google Docs onto a class website. Well, the first thing, it's important to understand what is the advantage of putting a Google Doc on a class website versus just a regular Word document. So let's look at the traditional way we would do things. On your computer, you would begin creating a Word document, and when it's time to save that Word document, you would go to the X drive and save it. Well, once that document is saved on the X drive, it's really not available anywhere else. That X drive is stored in our district server, and then within our district we also have another server, for example the Moodle Server. The purpose of the Moodle Server is to host our web pages, all of our Moodle courses, online. Now when a teacher wants to put their syllabus onto their Moodle course page, what they need to do is add a resource onto their Moodle page and then upload that resource so that it's made available to students on their class website. Now that works fine until a teacher wants to make some changes to this document. In order to make a change to that document, they have to bring the document up on their computer, make the changes, and nothing is changed until they actually save it. And again, they're saving it to the X drive. The problem is that that X drive is in actually a different file than what's on the Moodle server. So in order to change what's on their Moodle course page, they need to upload this new version to replace it on the Moodle server. Now that's a lot of steps, especially if you just want to create or make one little change on a document. So this is where we talk about the advantages of working in the cloud. Well, what's different about working in the cloud is that instead of working with static files that don't change, we're linking to files in our Google Drive document that are live. In other words, as soon as we make a change on that Google Drive, that change happens everywhere else where that document is linked. So now instead of working with static files, what we're going to do is we're going to create a document, but now it's going to be a Google document. On our Moodle server, it's still hosting our class web pages, but what's different now is instead of uploading that file, we're actually just going to make a link back to that file that's in the cloud. Anytime I make changes on my computer, that's automatically changed in the cloud, and anything that's linked to that document is also automatically changed. So when my changes happen in one spot, they happen in all the spots where that document is linked. And that of course saves a lot of time and makes everybody happy. So let's look at it from a student perspective and see some of the advantages that this gives the student as well. When a student is working on your class web page, if you link things like Word documents, here's what they have to do. They have to click on the link, and then that file is going to be downloaded. Once it's downloaded, then they need to open it, and that will then have to open up the program, which is Word. And then when the program loads, it can display the syllabus or whatever the document is. Now one of the problems is that not all students have Word at home. It's a fairly expensive program, so they may end up not having access to Word on their computer. So it's even better if we can give them a file that just opens up in their web browser, which is exactly what a Google Doc does. So instead of linking a Word document, so when we just link to a Google document, instead of it opening up in Word, it just opens up right in the web browser. So now the student has access to that syllabus right within their web browser. Nothing else had to be downloaded. Another program didn't have to open, so it's a lot quicker and easier for the student as well. Now let's take a look at it from the teacher perspective, and how does a teacher actually link to a Google document. So when a teacher creates a Google document that they want to share with their students, they'll go in the upper right hand corner and they'll click Share. Now the difference is, instead of sharing with individual students in their class, what they're going to do is they're going to make this link available to the students in the class. So where it says Who has access, you'll click Change, and you'll make the selection that says Anyone with the link. That means anyone with the link can have access to this document. Now down below we're going to tell everyone what type of access they can have. In this case, I only want them to be able to view the document. I don't want them to be able to edit the document, and I don't want them to comment on the document. All I want them to do is just be able to view the document. So I'll leave it as can view, and then I'll click Save. And now this link is what I'll want to copy. So I'll go up here, right click on the highlighted link, and choose Copy. And then I'll click Done. Now back on my my Moodle course page, what I'll do is I'll turn my editing on so that I have all of these editing features within each one of the topic blocks. And I'm going to choose, up on top here, I'm going to choose Add an Activity or Resource. In this case, even though it is a Google document file that I'm linking to, what I want to link to is actually the actual URL address. So I'll click URL and then click Add. I'll have to give the document a name, and then also type something in the description. And now down below where it says Content, I'll just right click in the URL and choose Paste. And then down below I'll click Save and Return to Course. My document is now linked, and I can click the little crosshairs if I want to move or rearrange it. And now this is a file that's available to my students. We've already demonstrated how that makes it easier for the student, but now I want to show you one of the big advantages for teachers. So in the upper right corner here, I'm going to turn my editing off. We've shown how this syllabus now would just open up in the web browser for students. Now the other huge advantage for teachers is the fact that if they ever need to make a change, so let's say next school year, let's say my classroom changes. Well, if I look on this syllabus, at the top of the syllabus I have my room number. Well, if my room number changes to room 115, all I have to do is just type in there room 115. It's automatically going to save. So Google Docs, you don't have to click Save. It says all changes saved in Drive. And now I can just go back to my Moodle page. That change, I changed live just simply by clicking on this link. Let's jump over to the student side. And now here for the student, when they click on that link, they'll automatically see those changes. Very quick and very easy. If you're a classroom teacher and you'd like to see this process written out step by step, I have a tip sheet that'll walk you through the entire process. This video demonstrated how to link Google Docs onto a class website.